obviously anyone who knows Syracuse basketball knows the style of play is zone defense. Again, Boeheim said this one time, I'm not sure if it's actually true. He said, we might play man-to-man next year. We got faster guys. The guys coming in next year, do any of them fit a zone type model? Because that is important. You know, the zone is important for Syracuse to succeed. And if they don't have guys that can play in the zone, they're done.
Yeah, I think so. Traditionally speaking, the zone has been at its best when you have a rim protector in the middle, when you've got bigger guards who can play out there, and when you've got length and athleticism on the wing. I think this class certainly has a lot of perimeter size. In a lot of ways, I think that the guys coming in are a better fit for Syracuse's defensive system than the roster that was there last season, which obviously had a ton of perimeter shooting, but didn't have the same length and athleticism that we've historically seen. I think you can make the argument that last year's team would have been a better man-to-man team, but more from like a containment, more like a Virginia style, like a pack style of man-to-man. I do think there's an upgrade in size, especially on the perimeter coming in with length and athleticism. I do think those things should translate well. I think the question, quite frankly, is, is the incoming class going to be quite as good offensively? And I'm not talking about the collective metrics. I'm just talking about when the shooting that Syracuse had last year, or at least the gravity that when you talk about Swider, the Boeheims, and what's his name? Joey
Gerard.
Yeah, thank you. Those guys on the perimeter, the gravity they had for opposing defenses was going to open the floor to a really significant extent. And, I'm not sure that's going to be quite the same. So I do think they'll be a better fit from a defensive standpoint for the system. I think offensively, it's going to be a little bit different than what was in place this season.
Yeah. So, Judah Mintz, obviously the cream of the crop in that class coming in. What do you see from him specifically that could help Syracuse?
Yeah, I think he's a true two-way player. He is, a lot of high-profile prospects, which he has been for a long time, don't take as much pride on the defensive end of the floor. That is not the case with Judah Mintz. Offensively, I've always thought he had a herky-jerky, high-volume kind of scoring game, but this past season at Oak Hill, he got a lot more efficient. If you look at his numbers in NIBC play, they were really impressive, and the NIBC is the premier high school league in the country now with Oak Hill, Montverde, IMG, Sunrise, La Lumiere, and three others there, but just really the best of the best playing against each other year round. So I think that, Syracuse had a class that had plenty of depth in the early signing period, but now they've got a guy who's capable of coming in and really making an impact from day one. And he's also a guy who should be able to hold his own, at least relative to other freshmen right away too, because that's usually the trade-off. A guy who's got the talent to come in and help you offensively still has to make an adjustment defensively, but that adjustment is going to be far less for Judah Mintz on the defensive end of the floor. And offensively, he's already had to learn how to incorporate his individual abilities within the context of playing with other high-level players this year at Oak Hill with guys like Chris Livingston, who's going to Kentucky. So I think Judah Mintz is going to be an important addition for this club, and he's got a chance to make an immediate impact.
That's good news. I'm sure a Syracuse fan would like to hear that. What about the rest of the class, though? I mean, it's kind of I wouldn't say a mismatch, but it's like Brown, I saw play because he actually played against my nephew in Virginia State Championship. He seems like a guy who can run the floor and kind of get buckets off of offensive rebounds, steals. But my nephew said, it was his direct quote, is I don't see him facing people up and scoring like that. So what about Brown? Is he more a role player, or is he a guy that could, make bigger impact than I'm thinking?
No, I think that eval is pretty fair right now. I think you could put Peter Carey into that as kind of an athletic big who's going to be a vertical spacer. I mean, Carey's going to be more of a project. But again, when you're talking about increasing the length, athleticism, I think that's a little bit of a misconception. Is not everybody's got to be a playmaker. Not everybody's got to be an advantage creator. and Brown and Carey in particular, those guys are going to be play finishers. So, can you be a lob catcher? Can you be a guy who plays off the dunker spot? Can you face up to take one or two hard dribbles? I think those are going to be the areas where they can make the most immediate impact. Is kind of, Carey's more of a developing five. Brown could be more of a hybrid four type guy.
What about Copeland? He seems like he could be a good fit for the zone.
Yeah, I think he potentially could be, because he has that perimeter size. Quadir has got tremendous floor vision and playmaking ability. He's about 6'5", 6'6". He plays. He can play anywhere from the 1 to the 3. He can really pass the ball. He values passing the ball. I think he's got to take better care of the basketball. He's got to be more reliable on a day-to-day basis with that. I like him as more of a secondary playmaker. Whether he can play out of the high post or a pick and roll on the second side of the floor. That to me is his best spot right now before he comes completely reliable in terms of being able to be accountable for the quality of the overall possession, which is what you want from a point guard. So that's why I don't consider him to be a college ready big point guard at this point, but I do think he has that kind of potential. But he is a playmaker, a guy who values making plays for other people.
So it's almost like they have 3 to 4 either combo guards or point guards. I mean, and if we're talking about, you said Joe Girard. Girard's not really a point guard as far as I'm concerned. He's a shooting guard, and he showed that when they played Duke. He's better off the ball. And Symir Torrance, kind of got his shot at the end of the year, and he played really well. Then you got these couple other guys that are coming in that you're talking about, maybe playmakers or guards. How can they fit in with the 2 guys that are there? Because that's, as you said, that's a lot of minutes, being accounted for.
Well, I think, you're talking about 3 different positions though, because 1 through 3 is so often interchangeable, and it's very rare in this day and age you see somebody say like, okay, you're a 2 guard, or okay, you're a point guard. So I think that having some type of a veteran experience like Girard next to you, like from that standpoint, Copeland and Girard actually should fit together nicely, because Copeland's got the size that Girard doesn't. Copeland makes plays for other people, when Girard is, as you said, primarily a shooter. So I think they do have complementing skill sets. I'm just not sure how much Copeland's still got to develop. I think that's the thing that this class has, is it's got good long-term prospects that should add to the program's continuity if they can get these guys to stay here for multiple years and continue to improve. But I think, with the exception of Judah Mintz, the biggest contributors next year are going to be the ones who are returning and able to step into a bigger role.
All right, Adam. Well, that was a lot of great stuff. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me Twitter or Instagram at Adam Finkelstein, Finkelstein. And thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Appreciate it.